And that's why if you all the different like finishes that you have in your finish closet, it technically turns into a low grade form of napalm. And let me tell you, that is not something that you want to learn on the fly. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sawdust Talk. I'm talking like up from the bottom right now, but that's okay. Giants stand on the shoulders of the little people. No, that's backwards. But we have a awesome guest tonight, an OG of Sawdust Talk from back way back, episode 16, back when we were just the little guys. And I think Tyler, you may have been a little bit of a little guy back then too. Some have called him the terror of Temecula, the king of cornhole, and tonight the godfather of giving. You're gonna have to buckle up and find out. Welcome to another episode of Sawdust Talk.
What's up? What's up? That's a great intro. Thank you.
How was that? I took notes. I studied for it. I was pumped.
I love it. That was so good.
Before we get too into it, want to thank our sponsors because let's be honest, we could do this without them, but it would be a lot less fun. So special thanks to, I need to move this because my head blocks it the entire time. Special thanks to our favorite people, Surf Prep. The personalities, like, they're not abrasive, but the abrasives really are. I'm using them everywhere right now. You don't even have to ever get rid of them. They just get higher and higher grit. So take that, Barnett Builds. And then special thanks to George Supply Co. If you're looking to start your own maker store, if you want to get swag, if you want to get t-shirts, and you just don't know where to start, golly gee, reach out to Scott over at George Supply Co. He'll get you hooked up, get you your logo on a t-shirt, and everybody knows, and I can see it because Tyler's wearing his, if you don't have your logo on your own swag, you're not really a maker. So get on it.
Or a saw blade.
Tyler, man, what is up? How you doing? We're at the worldwide podcast tonight.
Yeah, the worldwide headquarter podcast for sure. No, I'm doing great. So appreciate you guys having me back. I can't believe it was episode 16. It feels like probably 16 years ago at this point. So
that was nearly 100 episodes ago based on how math works.
That is
2 years.
That's wild, to be honest with you. So much has happened in the last couple of years. It's wild.
So what all has changed in the last couple of years for you?
Literally everything. So I was a little baby back then, and so everything's changed. And like cornhole's still going. Lots of lasers, lots of Etsy, lots of 3D printing, lots of different things, all sorts of maker things. I'm even going to meet makers at Workbench Con, all the things, So a lot has changed. The worldwide headquarters still remains the worldwide headquarters, though. I have not moved out of that. So
worldwide, wide.
Yeah.
So just for anybody that maybe wasn't listening to Sawdust Talk nearly 100 weeks ago, God, that's a really big number to say. Can you give us a little bit of your background? How'd you get into making? I'm guessing it started with maybe some games for the yard. How'd you get into this?
Yeah, no doubt. So I kind of started like most people did, kind of pandemic woodworker. I had run out of projects around the house, and it's like, oh, I'll just make a cornhole set. And so I made a cornhole set, and I'll be honest, it was awful. It was really bad, really, really bad. So naturally, I was like, well, let's start a business doing this, right? It's like, well, like what? You make cornhole boards now? And so I did that, and they were pretty poor at the beginning. But then I kind of, they got better and better and better. And now, that's kind of like the bedrock of what happens here. Keeps the lights on, pays the bills. But throughout that kind of like 4 years time, they got better. I sell them in multiple different ways. I'll do hand art. I'll also direct print them, and then all sorts of other things. So I've added lasers. I've added 3D printers, all sorts of tools, and it's just kind of snowballed from there. And my Etsy is, I sell plans there for cornhole boards pretty often. And so that's kind of all these kind of passive streams of things, kind of an experiment in business is kind of what I said it was at the beginning. And it's a massive experiment now. And so, but it's still my part-time job. So it's not my full-time thing. Full-time.
What is your full-time job?
I sell software to the government. So it's very, it's very boring during the day, but I actually sit in this chair most of the day. So it's familiar.
So he's really pumped to do it for one more hour after.
Yeah, right. No
That's
doubt.
crazy. I didn't actually know that about you either, though.
Yeah. No, I used to work for local government, and then I kind of transitioned there, and here I am doing that. So I feel like I have 2 full-time jobs though, because I'm like obviously going back and forth between taking people's orders and dealing with people's software stuff. So.
You put off like an air of somebody that does this full time though. So if you're trying to hide it, like your content really hides it, and if you're not, then
no, I appreciate it.
That's what's coming out. So I got to ask about those first cornhole boards.
Yeah.
Plywood frames or 2x4 frames?
Ah, man. So they were 2x4s. They were 2x4s, and I was lucky enough to be buying 2x4s in the middle of, I don't know if we can say the word. Can we say the word here? 2020. Can we say that?
Yeah, we can say whatever we want.
In the middle of the pandemic, and so they were like crazy expensive. 2x4s are $2 or $3 now. They were like $8 then, and so for whatever reason, I still thought it was a good idea to start making cornhole boards out of 2x4s, and I was using a pocket hole jig that was from like Harbor Freight, and it's just they were awful. So
the cornerstone of a successful business.
Yeah, right. And so but actually, good segue to the. I actually started it with the intent of it being sort of a make money, donate half of it to like charities, and like there was a local. There's a local school garden that's actually in my neighborhood. The school's in my neighborhood. And so I was giving them half of my profit because I felt like, oh, this is going to be like this, save the world thing. And then of course I stopped doing that for some reason, but obviously with the St. Jude's fundraiser and all the other things and giving here and there and doing, donating things here and there, it's still very much alive. So we're not a nonprofit though. Let's be clear.
At a certain point, you became the charity. This economy. Thanks a lot, Obama. I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of background there, but yeah, it's gotten a lot harder to sell cornhole boards. Not harder, but
yeah,
more complicated.
It definitely has. There's a lot of bigger players in the game, and then so like at some point, obviously, this kind of hits a different niches too. Is that plywood became crazy expensive too. And the good stuff was really hard to find. And so I was lucky to have suppliers that I was still working with. And then like the quality went down, and the price went up. And so a lot of the big cornhole people in the kind of cornhole industry, it's just a weird thing to say, but they got all the wood, right? And so they started making frame kits, and they started thriving while the little guy was kind of put to the side. So I like to think that we're a little bit more boutique now. So like the whole experience is the thing, right? The design and the one-on-one customization of everything, and the warranty behind it, which is like if it breaks, bring it back, we'll fix it type thing. So that's where I'm at.
So you kind of elevated your cornhole boards when it came to laser.
Actually, the CNC was first. So yeah, the CNC was first. And so, I'm not going to it'll bore people to death, but the hardest part is the legs, right? It's the most important part of a cornhole board, and the legs have to be perfect. Well, if you're doing them by hand, they're not always perfect. Yeah, there you go. That's a nice jig right there. Wish I would have thought of that one, actually. So
it's pretty good, but I bought this machine for and paid for it with cornhole boards.
Nice.
So
Nice. Yeah, no, I have all the jigs and all the things, but the CNC really kind of set it apart. And so when I made plans for that, I started my Etsy too. And so now I sell the plans for mini sizes, regulation sizes, and those sell pretty well. It's sort of a passive pay for my fancy tool habits type situation. So
Right on.
yeah, for sure.
So you've been adding a lot of tools lately.
Yeah.
So you added the CNC, and then kind of went like, what are you working with now? What have you added to the shop? What's exciting you?
So I have the CNC. I added a bandsaw last year. Added the Harvey bandsaw, which is don't dig too deep into my Instagram account because there's a bad situation that millions of people saw. I'm happy that millions of people saw it, but it was a huge mistake with a bandsaw. Go look for it. It's a doozy. But
were you just about murdered yourself?
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody get that close to a bandsaw blade with their entire body all at one time.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go find the reel if you want to see if that's true or not.
Yeah. Go find it, share it, like it.
That poor kid.
Yeah. No, so the bandsaw, then I've added a bunch of little diode lasers, X-Tool lasers all over the place, laser pecker, bunch of random, just little tools here and there. But then I got from your recommendation, actually, I got the OM Tech 100-watt laser recently, which is a total game changer. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier. That was like the missing piece of everything. So yeah, it's right there in the background. So it's such a game changer because the diodes are like kind of clumsy and like you got to line things up weird. It's like, no. You just throw it in the big one and go. It's amazing. Yeah. So shout out to D Miller too. Dave Miller here. My neighbor, Dave Miller, not my immediate neighbor, but down the street neighbor, the mayor of French Valley. He was like, dude, you got to get one. It's a game changer. And so I've kind of followed all of his recommendations on lasers because he's got 47,000 of them. So I figure he's an authority on it. But when he said that, I was like, okay, I got to get it. Yeah, I think his exact words were treat yourself.
He's the one that recommended
someone you
this
can
to
trust
me.
too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's the one that got me to get this laser because I was always complaining about my diode laser. He's like, dude, just get a CO2 and just go all the way up to 100 watt. Like, stop. You're talking about this for like 6 months. Just order it. I'm like, you're really good at spending my money.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I actually got mine used from there, straight from OM Tech. And I was thinking it was going to show up and be like all raggedy and stuff with like dents and stuff. It was literally almost brand new. It was.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I almost did that exact thing. But yeah, did you read the descriptions of like how they rank the quality of the used ones?
Yeah.
They make it sound like, hey, there are some that are returns that are probably pretty close to perfect. And everything below it is essentially like garbage. Like the laser works, but close your eyes because it's going to shoot out all these holes in the side. It's dented. The legs don't even exist. Like they definitely like hype up how ragged those used ones are. And when you said it was brand new, I'm like, frick, he got the cool blue one. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. So my wife helped me like pick it up and move it. She's a strong person. We'll leave it at that. So she's pretty strong.
So
what's that?
They're not light.
No. We had like the big appliance straps, like moving it around.
Yeah.
So it's good times.
Yeah, I had my dad, and we had ours like half off the pallet, and immediately we both just looked at each other. We're like, we fucked up, and now we're too far down the path.
You just gotta go.
Yeah. So how has that changed your workflow, or like has it changed what types of products you're offering, stuff like that?
Kind of, I kind of have big ideas for it, and then, kind of life gets in the way, jobs and kids and like actual paying things that make money and stuff like that. But I'm kind of like throughout the 4 years, I've kind of just thrown stuff out there and see what sticks. Like, I was making thousands of bottle openers one year, and it was like bottle openers just would not stop. And it was like walnut bottle openers were the thing. And I didn't want to make them. I didn't want to make them. I didn't want to see them. I didn't want to smell them, but they just kept selling. And back then I was using like tiny little diodes, one by one, lasering them. And so, so with the new laser, to my point, is that I'm going to find some products just messing around. And I don't know if you saw the one, it's a big hit on the streets, but the dog flower bed, it's a big hit. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. It's terrible. Yeah. So I actually designed that because somebody asked me to build one for them. And I looked at it, and you have to go look at it. It's in my account. And the dog has like the craziest eyes ever. And the design is just really kind of wonky, but I made that on the laser just out of nothing. So that was one of my first projects.
That's awesome.
Kinda.
Hey,
Yeah.
You're not selling this very well, Tyler.
Oh, well, I'm not selling it at all, just because I got it done and I was like, who the hell wants, why was I so into this? I thought like, oh, a dog, people love dogs. And anyway.
Hey, everybody that's listening, go to TemeculaYardGames.org and order all the dog.
Yeah, they're not up yet. They're not up yet. I'll take orders.
Go hit up the contact us sheet. Let's just make Tyler absolutely fed up with these little dog planters.
It's .com though. So if you go to .org, that's probably my competitors or something.
.biz.gov /home.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy how the things that hit, and I hear this from not just you, but from like other makers, everybody's like number one selling product seems to be the thing that they just dread making because they make so many of them.
Yep.
It's kind of wild how that happens.
Yeah, I think they just get like, well, I mean, let's talk about cornhole boards, because like there's been a while, there's been times where I'm like, I never want to see one of those things. I don't want to make it. I'm tired of making them. The fun is gone. And so doing the art is cool, but it takes me 2 days to do like a custom art work on a cornhole board. So I'm kind of shied away from that. I'm still designing the direct print boards, but I kind of shy away from doing the art myself just because it doubles my time, and kind of the net gain of that is just not, it blows any profit out of the water. So,
but does it make it funner to do a custom something than it is just like doing a one-off or a like a batch of something?
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it depends on the design. Some designs I'll look at and go, that is going to be a nightmare. Just a bunch of little vinyl pieces that need to be weeded out, and then put another one on to do the next color and stuff. And so it used to be kind of like, I used to love it, but now it's just kind of a lot of work. So doesn't mean I don't love it, but not those intricate ones.
So do you do other yard games or just cornhole boards? Because I have a friend locally who is super into yard games, and there are so many possibly out there.
Yeah, no, so I actually get asked that a lot. Like, well, what else do you make? And, I made the Jenga sets, and I've done the other things. And truth be told, I just never really got into any other ones. And like, I just figured like the Jenga sets are fun, but they're a lot of work, right? Like the big Jenga sets, they're just a lot of work to do them correctly. So I just stuck with that. And like I've been talking about changing the name for a long time from Temecula Yard Games, such a long, like cumbersome name that, because it kind of has pigeonholed me into like, oh, well, you're just the cornhole guy. Oh, you make cornhole boards. It's like, well, no, I make all these other things too. But it's so hard to completely reinvent your name after 4 years, and all of your stuff says Temecula Yard Games and all this kind of stuff. So I tend to call it TYG a lot, and so that's kind of a thing. And so I try to make that happen, but it's just so much work to just redo your websites and all your things and rebrand yourself, and it's a lot of work.
I think that where you're at though right now, Tyler, like if you were to rebrand yourself into what you have become, I don't think that people would second guess it at all. Because I feel like you're known enough in the community. Like nobody's gonna not know who you are when you're posting if you come out with a new logo or a new name or whatever. I don't think people should be so scared of rebranding.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually heard a really great podcast on that kind of said the exact same thing. It's like nobody's going to know the difference. Nobody, you just got to do it. It's like cut the cord. And I've seen people do it. And the one thing that I did kind of in the last couple of years is like I added my actual name. My actual name wasn't on the account for so long. And then we went to Workbench Con and people were like, yeah, you got to do that instead of just a nameless account that's, something woodworks. It's like, well, who is that person? Right. Like you follow these people and you don't know their name. And so you lose a little bit of value online for sure. I don't know, business wise, I don't know if it makes a difference, but
that's kind of a catch-22, and it's one of those things I think was almost an accidental positive of like the Instagram blue check thing. I mean, I think very few people are seeing much like actual value from that in terms of exposure or anything. But I think it was really cool how it forced everybody to put their faces and their names on their profiles.
Yeah.
Because before that happened, Workbench Con last year, you'd have to walk around with your name badge with your logo up because nobody knows your face.
Sure.
They just know your logo. So it definitely humanizes you as a maker and as a business. So I think that's interesting. But I remember watching you struggle, a couple months ago with do I rebrand? Do I not rebrand? Yeah. So I'm interested to hear more about how you landed, where you landed on that decision.
I go in and out of like heavy decisions. And like, so that's like kind of the beauty of what I'm doing here is that like, I can do whatever I want. And so like, I'm kind of impulsive. And so some weeks I'm like, I'm going to rebrand. I'm never doing a cornhole board again. I'm going to start making tables. And it's like, well, dude, you don't make, I kind of calm myself down after a week and I'm like, well, dude, you don't even make tables. Like, so, stay in your lane. And so I think that actually Workbench Con was a good, reinforcement of like stay in your lane. There's so many awesome people there that are doing things that are like someone consider niche, but that's their lane and they're known for that, like that thing. And they're at the top of their game, kind of like the state of the art of whatever that is, whether it's like, building tables or scroll sawing or using epoxy. It's like, it's okay to be in your niche. That was one of my takeaways of that experience was like, it's okay to be a cornhole guy, so.
That it's okay to be a cornhole guy, but at the same time, if it's not something you love and it's not something that makes you want to kick open the door of your shop.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think I undersold it a little bit, and it's like, it's just so different than it was. It's a less like kind of, it's less of like the actual like sweating and sawdust, and it's more of like selling them and designing them and promoting, marketing them and getting them sold, because that's literally the hardest part. The easiest part, in my opinion, is the building of them and the art. They're really hard to sell. I mean, nobody wants to. There's not a whole lot of people out there right now, especially that are saying, "Hey, let's go give somebody $400 for anything." It's just it's tough. So they want to spend it on groceries. It's like it's a luxury item, is what it is, right? So.
Yeah.
But it is a luxury item. So if you're looking for one, hit me up.
Do you consider yourself to live a life of luxury? If you don't have cornhole boards, you ain't living it yet.
No, your summer is going to be ruined if you don't have anything to do in your backyard. So.
TemeculaYardGames.com.
Yeah.
Have you considered operating? Because I mean, it's shockingly easy to set up like other business names and just funnel them all through as like a DBA, doing business as.
Yep.
Temecula yard games could be the kingpin of the mafia, family there, and you could have Temecula tabletop games and Temecula tables for your tabletopgames.com and Temecula doggy
laser dog,
laser dog beds and more. I mean, if you wanted to do the work, you could change a lot of your advertising or just set them up as, basically funnels. I mean, domains are cheap, online stuff is cheap.
Yeah, no, believe me, I've thought about that. It's kind of like, Kellogg's makes like a bunch of different products, or like, Johnson & Johnson makes like all these different things with their Johnson & Johnson. They have different brand names. If there was just more time in the day, I would definitely be exploring that. And there was a time that I was, and then it's a lot of work. So.
Well, if you weren't so busy making government software.
There's that. There's the whole like being a dad and working thing.
Yeah, so. Stop paying your bills. Stop worrying about them rascally kids. Like put them out on the street to work, down in the mines, and you take it easy. Figure out this woodworking thing.
For sure. Yeah. I'll leave my kids a bowl of water in the morning, and they'll be fine. So.
It's kind of interesting because I started out very similar to you, and then you just did way better with it than I did. But I mean, I started with cornhole boards too, and I'm at the point where somebody orders cornhole boards, I'm just sending them to your site because you couldn't pay me to make a set of cornhole boards anymore. But when you're like at a certain point, you start a business and you're kind of working with what you know and not with what you don't know. And I realize that that's super deep, but also really basic to say. But you've never built a table. You don't know if you want to be a table guy or if you want to be a laser guy. But what is a rose by any other name is still a rose sort of thing. We're all still makers. You make whatever you need. It's just a matter of getting the right customer to give you the shot on that table or whatever.
For sure. No, I mean, I definitely have explored a lot of different things over the last 4 years. It's like crazy to think back, like all the different things that I've tried and some things took and some things didn't. But, and it's funny that you called out call yourself a maker. A lot of people will say, oh, you do woodworking. It's like, well, now I'm a maker. Like I have a 3D printer right there and there's a bunch of lasers and I just make stuff. Like, well, what do you make? Everything. Like what I can make a lot of different things. It's like, well, last week I made some beer tap handles. This week I made laser dog. And it's like, well, I'm just making things. I don't know. And that's the beauty of the whole thing, is that like I can do whatever I want. And I think that's like that kind of defines like what a maker is. And so I've begun calling myself a maker more than a woodworker, right? Because it's so much more broad in my opinion. So
I love that.
Yeah, and it's wild because outside of the community, like nobody knows what a maker, like, yeah, exactly like you said. Well, what do you make? It's, I don't know, cool shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do actually explain it though. People say, well, what do you make? We'll say, well, I make cornhole boards. That's sort of the bedrock of the whole thing, pays for the other stuff. And now I use lasers and I do woodworking and all this kind of thing. And so I actually do explain it to people like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And so I actually think that more people know what makers are now than they ever have, because of everybody became a maker in 2020, right? Like everybody was doing something at home. They were side hustling, I mean, geez, look at how many people are making tumblers now, and sublimating tumblers. There's literally entire aisles in the craft store on putting stuff on tumblers and, leather patch hats and stuff. Like people have made tons of money doing like little things. And I missed out on the laser hat thing or the leather hat thing.
Speaking of which, before Tyler says anything, if you do need customized leather patch hats, available at littlebugwoodworking.com.
I have one. They're amazing.
Are you guys wearing the same hat right now?
Samesies.
You're definitely wearing it. Why do I not have this hat?
So we agreed on a swap at Workbench Con, and so we kind of like, it was like slow motion, and we just handed off hats to each other, big hug, and like, here's your hat.
And then we just immediately walked in opposite directions. We never said one single word.
Not one single word. It was awkward. It was awkward after the exchange, so
Whatever.
shop
I feel like
smith
you guys.
both.
I feel like you guys did the whole like dirty dancing, like.
Yeah, I lifted him up like.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I was going to ask Jessie which one of us she thought would lift the other one, but you're just going right ahead. You're just Patrick Swayzeing it. You're going to be Swayze? All right.
I'd give it a run. Yeah, we could switch though. That's fine.
We could do one of those like rolling acrobatic things where we then do like a cartwheel.
Yeah. Yep.
Somebody film this for YouTube.
I'll get you some swag. I'll get you some swag though. I'll get you some.
Cool. I'm down. So should we shift gears and talk a little bit about Makers for St. Jude? Because I feel like
Yes.
you're kind of like our star team player right now.
Yeah, you got into it. Like you really do not like childhood cancer. Like jump
I
right in.
really dislike it. And anybody that doesn't agree, I don't know if I like them, but yeah, no, it was awesome. So I actually had been talking about doing it for a long time. And then I felt bad because I kept hitting up Mike saying, I'm going to do it. Send me the link. I swear I'm going to do it. And I just was like doing all these other things. And then finally I was like, I got to do it right now. How do I do it? And it was super simple. I set up the account and I put up some photos. He gave me some coaching on how to do it and put it together. And I just went hard on it. And luckily I have a lot of good, friends outside the maker world and family that were like really supportive of it. Cause I basically told them, I'm like, look guys, you can come up with $30 for kids with cancer, or you're a jerk. So give me $30. And so, no, it went really well. So
It was awesome. Did we get a final tally on what the total was?
yeah, let me look at it real quick just to double check.
Mike is in the chat and he is in enthusiastic support of your raffle.
So 1,150, and the original goal was 1,000. And I got word from the headquarters that I needed to raise the bar a little bit in the last week. And so we went over 1,000, which is awesome. 23 individual donations too. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
23 people hate childhood cancer and also want to live the good life of luxury with their own custom cornhole boards.
Yeah, let's be honest. They want to move into the world of backyard luxury. So
And are they coming with, was it Burley bag? You work with Burley bags, don't you?
yeah, I do a lot actually. Shout out to Hunter. He's awesome. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. And actually, if we don't go into the whole story, but he's actually the reason that I really got into cornhole boards. That's a completely another podcast, but he's kind of the godfather of all that stuff. So, and he's awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna get him to do some of those for the person that wins as well. He doesn't know it yet, but he might after this. We're gonna do some, and whatever the design is. So it's a custom set of whatever the person wants, and so once that process plays out. So, yeah.
So, all right. So how do you want to do this? How are we going to figure this out? I'm so excited.
So
I'm like, are we doing the giveaway right now? What's happening?
Yeah, we are. So I told you guys earlier that I'm looking at a different screen is why I'm looking this way. I put it all on a spreadsheet and everybody got entries depending on how much money they put in, up to 5 entries. And I put them on the list and I randomized it. But I did take some family members out because family members are not going to be able to win from me, unfortunately. And they know it, so that's fine. But everybody else is good to go. So we'll pick a number between 1 and 37. So I don't know if we should ask the chat or who's going to pick this number.
I'm going to just crank up my laser to 100% and we're going to count how many seconds before I start a fire. And that's going to be the number.
Yeah. Pretty quick with the 100-watt.
Jessie, why don't you just pick a random number?
17.
17. Lucky number 17. One more than 16, one less than 18.
Okay, so this is a winner, and it goes to show the more money that you give to St. Jude's, the better chance you have of winning. Okay, because this is a top donator, Brian Cromer, 9 Strong Creations.
All right.
Yeah. So congratulations, and I will message him tomorrow. We'll talk about it. Get it.
What's his handle?
9 Strong Creations. Number 9 Strong Creations.
I'm gonna see if I can tag him. 9 Strong. Is that it? Nope, that's 9 Strong Athletics Inc. That's not.
Let me look for it.
I'll figure it out.
Oh, right on.
All right, so they're gonna get custom. Are they gonna get? Is it gonna be screen printed or? Okay, the fact that you still do like custom staining with like vinyl and stuff blows my mind, because I offloaded just literal staining at all as quickly as I could. I cannot stand it. So.
Yeah, it always depends on the design, and so thanks for asking. But I'll let you know in the short version of it. It depends on the design, because some designs can't be done by hand because they're either too much of a picture or they're just too intricate, or they just would look better direct printed. So these will probably be direct printed and sent directly there, and then the bags will match. So
that's so awesome.
But they get to pick, so I don't know. I don't know what they want on there, so we'll see.
Well, Brian is a former teacher and varsity softball coach turned full-time dad and woodworker. So
yep.
I wonder if he's going to want like a team theme, or I'm excited to see what he wants.
So he actually makes cornhole boards too. Him and I have had some conversations. So this is like giving out the recipe for, Kentucky Fried Chicken or something, so don't reverse engineer these, but feel free to have fun on them.
Don't you sell the plans on Etsy?
Not these. These are the plans are the old one. In fact, I need to work on the new version of that. So
this is the new version. So you're getting 10 out of 11 herbs and spices for the count. You got to just figure out the one.
Yeah, each model's had like a generation. So this is generation 4. So pretty top notch. So
TYG 4.0.
Yeah, Gen 4. Not generation. The branding is Gen 4. So
Gen 4. There you go. Yeah. I like it.
Cool. So what was like the experience setting up the, getting involved with Makers for St. Jude and like setting up and running the raffle? I think a lot of people are like you. They were very enthusiastic about wanting to get involved because, to be honest, St. Jude's is awesome. Everybody wants to do that. But a lot of people get really intimidated about the process in just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience?
I thought it was super easy. I mean, I literally just used the link, went in there and set up my page, customized my page with a picture that I made, just on a Canva photo. And then I put in some language below that says, this is donate this is what you win, this is what you win, this is what it is. And it was pretty easy, and you set your goal and that's it. And then you can just keep sharing the link out, and I probably shared it 100 times in the last week. So yeah, I mean, honestly, and I'm not no BS, it was super easy. If you're on the internet posting things, you can definitely do this for sure. So
if the yard game guys can figure it out, you guys can.
These yard guys can figure it out. No, it was super easy. And I got a lot of support from Mike about like, oh, you may want to think about doing this, or, dial up this amount of, donation increments from 30 to 100 or whatever. So super easy.
I think that's great too. And I mean, Mike is so willing to help. I mean, he was on a call yesterday with a brand, talking about a raffle for them and stuff. So, I mean, if there is a maker out there that you want to get involved with Makers for St. Jude, you want to run a raffle, you want to do whatever, just reach out. I mean, me, Braden, TJ, we're all willing to help out. And if we don't have an answer, we'll probably direct you to Mike, who has all of the answers. So,
yeah, I love Mike. Mike's a local guy to me, and I love Mike. Do not call him asking for help if you're expecting like a real quick answer. He's there to connect. Like, he's going to walk you through everything, make sure you're comfortable with it. So if you got questions, he'll get you figured out. He's done this for a while.
Yeah,
So-
true story. True story. I actually won the raffle last year, the surf prep one. And
So full circle.
well, I figured, yeah, this is a good reason to like pay it forward this year is to like do my own. I didn't have a rad vacuum to give away, but I definitely it was awesome that I won that. And I wish I would have donated more. So,
Well, I mean, there's always the opportunity to do it again in the fall.
Yeah.
So-
No, I would definitely do it again for sure.
We'll find a way to get some more. We'll get one of the other yard games out of you.
Yeah.
Or maybe a planter.
Yeah, a dog planter.
A dog planter.
So I'm going to left turn it
Yeah.
a little bit because I mean we could talk about cornhole boards forever, but
Yeah.
You being involved in the community, I've watched you grow for 2 years in doing that, and your content's really changed, and like just your quality is not the right word, but like almost like just how much more direct you are with that. And then this was your first year going to Workbench Con, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So you're fully in on the community now. What was your experience going to Workbench Con for the first time? And then just kind of like in the community at large?
Well, first of all, it was awesome. The first day I got there, I'm not going to lie, I was a little starstruck by just seeing all these, cool people that I see every day on the internet that I feel like I'm already friends with. And, but when it started to get broke down into like hearing from people or talking to people or just, attending a class or anything like that, it was kind of double edged where it was like, oh, wow, I didn't even think that way. Or I didn't even know that was happening, or man, was I doing that not the right way? It was a little humbling, but it was also kind of inspirational too, because it's like, well, okay, at some point on year 4, those people were probably in the same spot on year 4, but now they're in year 10. And so it's like, well, you can get there if you just keep, working the process and taking little chunks. So I came away enthused. And it was a little humbling too, because if you think like in your own space, you're like, oh, I'm doing pretty well. And then you're like, wow, like there's so many things I could do even better, So that's kind of what I came away with. Also, I came away with the fact that everybody was super cool. I don't think I saw any like negativity or anything otherwise than just people having fun and being really cool with each other. So that's my take.
You didn't run into Jessie face to face, then, did you?
I sure did, actually, and a bunch of times, yeah. So, but I think one morning I was kind of coming down the elevator, and I'll be honest, it was a late night, and I was feeling kind of rough. I just needed to go get some fresh air, and she comes walking through with a smiling face, and I'm like, I feel terrible, but it was good. It was fun.
I'm like, hey.
It inspired me to get my day going, because it was, anyway, long nights there. I didn't get enough sleep for sure.
Nobody does.
I walked away from that thinking like, damn, I'm tired. Like that was a long 3 days.
It's a long but great 3 days. I'm surprised you could say you saw me, because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I saw you like in passing, like
Yeah,
a little ping pong, just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, more or less than 4 seconds. That's the indicator of like Jessie time.
yeah.
I think Braden actually told me at one time, he was like, don't move. I will be back in 30 seconds. And I was like, okay.
There's just so much to do and see, though. There's so many people to talk to and so many things to do. It's kind of like you're just bouncing around.
Yeah.
So.
That's the hard part, though. At a certain point, I just want to eat. So if you say you're going to dinner, stay where you're supposed to be, or I'm just going to leave.
Right. No, it's a cool experience. I would definitely do it again. I think that it's definitely worthwhile. So,
who were you most starstruck by? Like, who'd you fangirl over? Was it me?
I think it was just I mean, you guys, of course, but like it was kind of just the whole crowd. We're like, it's like if Instagram came alive and it was like, and it did can't come alive. It was like, oh wow, look at all these people. Oh, and then oh, by the way, there's all these YouTube like people, and I was actually pretty starstruck by Steve Ramsey. Yeah, I was like, because I was watching his videos when I knew nothing about anything, and I remember watching his table saw videos when I first bought a table saw, a nice table saw, and I was like, okay, like let's watch his videos because I don't want to chop my hand off. And there was a lot of good intel there on how to use it. So that was a good one. But yeah, everybody. It was that first day was like I was juiced. I was like, this is wild, all these people. So
the energy is pretty like unmatchable.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go to Maker Camp?
I probably won't make it there. That's a pretty good trek for me. Plus, it's just it looked miserable last year, if I'm being honest. So because of the weather. But were you guys there? I don't know.
I was there, and it's a trek for me. You know that.
Yeah, you're probably further away. But
I was gonna say you're talking like on the map. You're talking like that much more further.
Yeah. I'm just making excuses. I haven't looked into it. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm about to use some PG-13 words. We don't want to hear your bullshit. That's it.
Well,
that's what we're gonna say.
I'll tell you what's bullshit is that there's not a West Coast meetup. It's all these East Coast versions. There needs to be a West Coast. I mean, it's pretty nice here, so I think some people maybe want to visit. I don't know.
That's a great idea.
As a matter of fact, there's going to be a West Coast meetup.
Ooh.
And it will take place at Surf Prep.
Oh yeah, I knew about that. Yeah.
Well, then where are you asking?
Wait. Yeah, what are you complaining about? There should be a West Coast meeting. I know about the one in like 2 months.
No, I know about that one, and I went the last time, and it was awesome because they're awesome, and it was just a great time. But I'm talking like a con of some sort, like a camp or a con of some sort, like a
surf prep con.
If that's a thing, I would love to go. I would love, and they're actually really close to me, so that's perfect. They're literally like 15 minutes away, so it's perfect.
Yeah, at the risk of overhyping without any approval or plans from Hannah, Surf Prep Con is going to be the biggest maker-based con of the year. Ooh. I hear that they're bringing in a petting zoo, and Nick Offerman might be in the same state.
Yeah.
So statistically, there's a better chance of running into him if you're at least in the right state.
Yeah.
It's June 8th.
It's either June 8th or 18th, whichever one is a weekend.
I think it's June 8th.
I have it on my calendar somewhere around here.
We should absolutely like hardcore commit to just one date, even if it's wrong.
I hope it's not June 8th because I'm going to be gone, but that's another story.
Well, you need to cancel.
Here we go with the excuses. I want a West Coast meetup. I'm not going to be in town for the West Coast meetup, but this is ridiculous. This is why everybody liked episode 16 rather than
I was at the last one. I was at the last Surf Prep meetup, so I guess like technically I was I'm an OG at that one. So I'm not a newbie. I'm not a newbie at that one. So
I will be. It's fine.
The newbie. By the way, speaking of Workbench Con, the newbie badge. That was like a scarlet letter of like newbie. I didn't wear it because I was like, I don't want anybody to know that I don't know anything around here. But let's not have that on the West Coast one.
We won't.
Listen, the real step to knowing that you're not a newbie to Workbench Con is when you realize that there's not just the main stack of elevators and that there's elevators hidden behind doors.
Yes. Like
secret elevators.
Secrets, yeah.
And the trick is you just have to open up as many doors around that place as you can until you find them. And you find some stuff.
They just appear. They just appear. Yeah. No, that hotel is a really good spot for it because it's all literally right there. And they were really tolerant of people up until 4 a.m. in their lobby, which was like literally just sound just going like this up to people's rooms. I don't know. People must have been so mad. So
No, anybody that was awake at that time was not awake at that time, and they did not.
Yeah.
I never heard any of us like at night, and that could be because I was in the crowd, not in my room. But what I did remember hearing was when they had that like single person band playing weird like ambiance style electric guitar at literally cranked it up to 12.
He thought he was the lead actor in the. He thought he was the show.
Yeah, they were there for the show. Like they built the convention center around that artist.
Hey, he's just going hard, you know.
You should have just them and been like, Titty Nick!
Titty Nick!
Titty Nick!
Yeah, that was a good time. That whole thing is a good time for sure.
So what's next for you in like the next year? Where are you hoping to grow?
Wow. So like I said, I kind of jump around to thing to thing in my head, but I would really like to kind of grow. And I know this is so cliche at this point, but I would really like to grow. I would really like to grow the YouTube, and I'd really like to get better at content, just in general, because I enjoy it, not because I feel like I want to have this big YouTube following or anything like that, but I really like doing that stuff. Like it's fun to me to sit down and you know, work up a video or have my kids help me or whatever, you know, stuff like that. And so that stuff's fun, but I've always wanted to do like a how-to beginner version of like how to build a cornhole set and how to build a middle range set and like a high end set and like just have that kind of archive of things. So that's on my to-do list. That's on my to-do list for this year sometime.
Are we talking? Yeah, are we talking high end as in like solid hardwood, sapele or walnut glue ups? What are we talking high end here? Bluetooth?
Something that a professional would want to play on, and there's a big difference. So we don't have that much time, but there's the backyard one where nobody cares because they're drinking beer. Then there's the like semi-serious people, but they're still drinking beer, and then there's like the pro where they have specialized bags and they got a bag full of bags and they like to slide the bag this way and they like certain features and they like the board really heavy so it doesn't like walk around and stuff. So big difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like more in depth than just the standard ACA regulation sized?
No. It's the same size and those are nice boards, but there's some certain features that double legs and like heavier is better, stuff like that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So you could just do like those the concrete pour ones, because I mean that's as heavy as it gets.
You don't know how many people have sent me that video, and then the one with like the spinning thing.
I love the spinning thing. Like I want to build those too, but there's no way I could focus long enough to build those.
No. I actually saw him at Workbench Con, and I walked up to him like, dude, you don't know how many people have sent me your video. He's like, yeah, because it went crazy. Everybody was sending it around, and it was. I'm happy for him that it went so viral. But so I had to tell him. So
you ruined my life.
Yeah, you ruined my DMs. Everybody's sliding my DMs with your video. So
if you run across that video, DM it to Tyler because I don't think he's seen it in a while. So
please do.
Yes.
And go check out the bandsaw video because that needs a couple more hits on it.
Okay, so the bandsaw video was probably one of the most offended pieces of content that I've ever been, like, in a long time. So, I think you should publicly apologize for it. But two, also, you've got to go find the reel if you want to know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But two, that video got ripped off and was put on, like, some other account.
Yeah. It did get ripped off, and the dude played it off like it was him for some reason. I was wearing a shirt that said Temecula Yard Games, and it wasn't the same person. So anyway, it gets ripped off. But that happens with those videos that go crazy. And to be honest with you, I knew that when I was filming that video, in my head, I was like, this isn't going to go well. Like, this is not what should not be doing this. Not that I knew that was going to happen. But I was like, right before that happened, I'm like, but immediately after it happened, when I dusted myself off and figured out I had 10 fingers, I was like, that's going to be a badass video to put on the internet. And I don't know why. It's like, it's so stupid because you're like, that was such a dumb thing to do, and justifiably got a lot of heat for it. But it helps. Content is everything, or whatever.
Just banging content.
Yeah.
Hate is still engagement.
That's what I always say. Like, people get kind of shook by it, and I've had a lot of people, especially on the other app, TikTok. Man, people were brutal there at the beginning, but I just sort of lean into it. It's like you just keep asking questions and you just keep feeding the beast. I don't take it personally because it's like I don't know these people, so
yeah,
I encourage it.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things you got to remember about social media. Is end of the day, like, you don't freaking know any of these people. Why do you care? Like,
but I think that's why people are like that too. Like, they don't realize, like, oh, like, I can't talk to people like that. They just think it's okay because it's the internet. And it's like, well, no, dude, like, why would you say something like that? Especially Jessie gets like a ton of like, and I'm always messaging you about like the hate that you get on the remodel videos. It's like, oh, I can't believe a woman's doing that. It's like, who says that on the internet? Like, what?
Yeah, go back to the office.
What? Yeah.
So, a lot of people need to be reminded of what just a direct punch to the face feels like. I think we need to just shake some people up, and then they lose their social media privileges until they are reintroduced to what like face to face experiences are like.
But the thing is like if people are saying stuff like that to you, it's pretty easy to like not shake that off, right? Because you're like, well, what the hell? Like, I mean, it doesn't just roll off your back, because that's like straight up like really toxic behavior on the internet that it doesn't just go away, so people should think before they say stuff like that, for sure. So
what I love about the community though is that like when stuff like that happens and things do start to rub me the wrong way, like I'll get multiple comments on something and I'm like, ugh, this feels gross and this doesn't feel right, and I'll message over to like a few of my friends and I'll be like, hey, have fun. And I don't have to do anything. I don't have to reply. I don't have to say anything to anyone, because my friends will be in there like just giving it to them. So
just put out the bat signal for makers to just like,
yeah, exactly. So I never really say anything. I don't really reply. Sometimes I'll reply if it's like a semi decent comment, or maybe there's a question in it and not just completely rude. But other than that, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful. The makers roll in friggin' gangs.
Yeah. See, I reply to it all. If people are going to talk trash, I'm just going to do it back. So it is what it is. Not in like a weird, like, I don't want to be the bad guy at the end of it, but it just like, I don't know. I like to mess with them.
I really like commenting to the like, hey, do you want me to make you a really cool logo or picture of your avatar? Like, I just love engaging with the obvious spam bots.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, like you said, engagement's engagement. Like the algorithm don't care. It's just hungry. So.
Yeah. I've avoided most of them, but I had one for a while that was like, can I share your video? Can I share your video? Like just constant, and I couldn't get rid of it. And I was just basically chasing this thing, blocking it, and it just kept coming and coming. It's like this like viral bot system or whatever. Like, it was pretty wild. And they would just not stop. It just like comment after comment. It keep coming back. So it's weird. Anyway.
I will say though, Jessie, you really should have been using a drill, not an impact. Like, that was dumb. Typical woman. I should be in the office. Please don't cancel me, internet. I am surrounded by strong, independent women that don't give a shit what I have to say at all times. Please don't cancel me.
I actually got that comment too, because I use a driver to drive pocket holes because it's just easier for me. It's faster. It's easier than my clunky, heavier drill. And so some guy got into me for that too. When it's like, He's like, you're going to drive it too deep. I'm like, no, I'm not. I've driven thousands of these. Like, I'll be good. So.
Well, it's like it's a latch type, right? So it's like, why would you not put that in an impact?
Yeah, exactly. And then the bit, the Craig bit like snaps into the driver. So
exactly.
Anyway,
I don't see a problem. If it works for you.
In their defense, though, like when the Craig screw pops out, like just the little bit, I'm like, God, I'm such an idiot. I've done so many of these. Why did this happen?
But that's a depth problem, not a driving problem. So I send the foreman a little bit shorter. So the foreman a little bit shorter because I know I'm gonna drive it deep. Yeah. Anyway.
Because I know I'm gonna drive it too deep.
Yeah. I was setting that one up.
Oh gosh. Well, we are actually past an hour now. I'm gonna play TJ tonight because he's not here. But TJ will always ask our guest if you could give our listeners a reason to kick open their shop door, blow off the dust, and get to work. What would it be?
Well, my personal kind of ethos on that is just try everything. Just do it. Throw it out there. Do it all. Try it. If it works, it works. You just do it all. Just don't try it all. Is kind of my motto. Give it a shot. Yeah. Try it all.
And don't be afraid to rebrand.
And try it all. Don't be afraid to try rebranding as well.
Or do, because it'll all go bad. So bad for you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Don't listen to him.
Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, Tyler, thanks for coming back. We're glad that the podcast didn't scar you the first time, and that all wounds do heal. We want to thank our sponsors for letting us do this with relatively little oversight. It's shocking how excited I am about how little oversight we have, and they're just like, yeah, just do whatever you do. What feels right. So if you're looking for a sander, sanding sucks, but it sucks way less when you've got good equipment, and Surf Prep is the gooderest of the equipments. So check them out. If you don't need a sander, go check out their abrasives, because frankly, it's just better stuff. Don't abuse yourself. Get good sandpaper. And if you're looking at starting up your maker brand, or you want to get some help doing it, look at Tyler. Look how good he looks with his logo all over everything he's got. Like, be more like Tyler, and let the people that want to support you be more like Tyler. Go talk to Scott. He'll help you get your maker store set up, get you branded, get that swiggity swag out there for all the peeps to get. So we love these guys. We really appreciate all the help that they do and offer us to let us do the podcast every week. So thanks, guys. That's it. That's the end. Jesse, what am I forgetting anything? What you got?
I just want to say thanks to Tyler. Thank you for helping with Makers of St. Jude. You did awesome. I feel like you really kicked it off on the maker side of things, and I hope we can get more makers in here doing some stuff.
Tyler set the bar, people. Let's beat it. Let's make him just be like, man, I didn't even do anything. Let's do so good at everything that he's got to double it and do even better next time.
Double it for sure.
But yeah, no, thanks a lot, Tyler. We appreciate all the help.
No, thank you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate this. This was fun again for sure. And thank you.
All right. Well, we'll see you in 100 more weeks for Sawdust Talk, Temecula Art Games, Gen 3. Until that time, next week, Jesse, who do we got next week?
How
good's your memory?
It's not good. Who is next week?
Next week, we have guests. They will likely be people, possibly makers. If you want to figure out who they are, you're just going to have to tune in and find out. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Same dad channel.